carnivore diet results, year 6. When I went carnivore animal-based back in 2018, my top results were better mood, more energy, less joint pain, and weight loss. And then not long after that, I started to notice that my moles were shrinking or disappearing. And of course, I noticed that my digestion was a non-issue, if you know what I mean. The only drawback was my hair appeared to be getting thinner. I think that what was happening, and I've heard this from other women who've gone carnivore, especially women who've gone carnivore in their 50s, like I did, I just turned 60, is that it seems like your hair starts to grow in finer and silkier, and so it definitely feels thinner. So what I did, so this would have been back 2018, and as it was growing in over 2019, 2020, well, obviously 2020 things got interesting with not being able to get my hair colored. So once I started going back to my stylist, I went ahead and I got a short cut. You can go back and see some videos from that period. I had my hair cut really short to the chin and then with bangs. And then I allowed my natural hair to grow out. And definitely without coloring my hair, because I've been coloring my hair for years, sometimes that will thicken your hair a bit. So bringing back in my natural hair, definitely it was silkier and finer. But continuing to grow out my hair over the last 2 years, as it's gotten much longer, I had about 2 inches cut off of it just yesterday. I have noticed that over these 6 years, as it's all grown back in, it's really almost as thick and full as it was when I was in my 20s. So you can definitely see I've got a lot of hair. Once again, I had colored it and I am going back to my natural color. That's the good news. Patience does pay off because I did discover that my hair grew back in thicker and fuller. I also want to talk about experimenting with fruits that we grow here in our own garden. We have native wild blackberries, and then we also had a volunteer nectarine tree grow up in our compost pile. At any rate, I have been eating some of the fruit that we do grow here, right here on our property. So I know that's not been processed and I know what's going into it. And it was very interesting because even though the fruits don't overstimulate my appetite like conventional fruits do, so I eat a piece of fruit and then want to eat everything in the house. No, that's not happening. But what I did discover is that after eating the fruit a couple of days in a row, if I would check my morning blood sugar, it was back up in the pre-diabetic range. And also it did unfortunate things to my digestion. So I really do prefer to leave that out. The other thing is, talking about, goodness, 6 years of experience with carnivore now. Sometimes over the holidays and special occasions, I'll add back definitely more cheeses, some fruits, and then I make a keto chocolate dessert that recipe is also on this channel. But I definitely notice with that is that when I add those things back, I have a tendency to gain weight. My mood isn't as good, my brain isn't as sharp, my digestion isn't as good. So really discovering, especially after I turned 60 in April, that it really just doesn't feel like it's worth it anymore to add those things back in. Then when I did turn 60, I went back to really clean carnivore, steak and eggs and maybe bacon and maybe some fish, and then doing a 5-day split, which was training. And it's not that long. It's only 20 or 30 minutes. It's 5 days a week though, but it's legs, chest, back, shoulders, and arms. And really finding that doing weight training helps to optimize my insulin sensitivity, just like going carnivore does. And so when I stick to clean carnivore, not adding a whole lot of dairy or cheese, and definitely not having my keto chocolate dessert, no, not having that, and not having fruit, that my weight maintenance and actually some weight loss tends to be really, really easy to do. As a matter of fact, when I went to clean carnivore in a 5-day split, I got back down to what I weighed in 2017 when I was doing Keto Gains, which Luis Villaseñor created. It's a great program. It's more of a bodybuilder's program, training 5 days a week, lifting consistently, lifting heavy as well, much longer workouts, and then prioritizing protein, not as much fat as I do have on carnivore, and of course it's keto, so there's some vegetables on it as well. What I discover is I do like carnivore better. I don't have to spend as long in the gym, and I find that my appetite management is pretty effortless. I do find when I go to that kind of higher protein, really get lean, I tend to have a little bit more of an appetite, a little bit more of hunger between meals. When I'm following clean carnivore, I find that I only require 2 meals a day. But I will say that when I'm coming off of fruits and cheeses and any other extras, it usually takes about 1 to 3 days for my appetite to completely normalize again. So that's why I'm thinking I might not do these additions very much anymore. Variety. They say that variety is the spice of life, but I keep things spiced up with the things that I do and the activities that I enjoy rather than with the foods that I eat. As a matter of fact, I'm a member of the National Weight Control Registry. So we're a group of people, there's like 10,000 of us, who've kept off more than 30 pounds for more than a year. In my case, I've kept off 70 pounds for 15, 16 years now, which is a very long time. So they send us questionnaires and they come up with data about some of the things that we do differently than the people who don't lose weight or those who gain weight back. And one of the things that they discover is this ability to, there's a tolerance for low variety. The academic phrase is low novelty seeking. So one of the things in people who keep off a lot of weight for a long time is this trait of low novelty seeking. So my novelty seeking in my diet is low, but my novelty seeking in my life is high. I've taken up ukulele, guitar, electric guitar. I'm back to acting again. Also, I have all this vintage wardrobe from my musical theater career, which I'm modeling and putting up on Vinted. So what I am doing is the variety and the novelty is coming from the things that I do instead of from the things that I eat. If you want to know more, you can visit my blog at catherinetraining.com. So what am I eating now for clean carnivore? Most days it's steak and eggs. I find that nourishing and satisfying, and it keeps me content. When I'm feeling really good and I'm happy with the way all my clothes fit, sometimes I will add some things back. For example, if things are going well, I'll add back bacon, and if I want a little bit of variety, I'll have salmon or I'll have lamb. So as you can tell, it's a simple menu, but it's working really well. I think the advice that I would give anyone is to look for the foods that nourish and satisfy you, and that's how you'll find your proper diet. And the proper diet being the one that fuels you and gives you the energy and the enthusiasm you need to do the things that you love. So until next time, be well and eat for yourself.